The first time Claire noticed it, she thought it was just bad lighting. Her daughter, Lily, stood in front of the bathroom mirror brushing her teeth, but the reflection was wrong. Not horrifyingly wrong. Not movie-style wrong. Just missing. Lily was there, in front of the sink. But in the mirror, it was only the empty bathroom, the faucet running, the steam rising, and no little girl brushing her teeth. Claire blinked, rubbed her eyes, and laughed nervously. "Lily, stop moving around, honey." But Lily hadn't moved. And when Claire looked again, her daughter's reflection still wasn't there. That was 3 days after they moved into the new house. And it was the moment Claire's quiet, happy family life began to unravel. For more interesting stories, subscribe to this channel. Comment and tell us where you are watching from. Let's dive in. The Thompsons weren't running from anything. At least, that's what Claire told herself every time she looked at the packed boxes and the bruises under her husband's eyes from sleepless nights. They'd moved from the city to a quiet New England town, a place where the biggest excitement was a farmer's market and an annual parade. It was supposed to be a fresh start. Michael had been offered a remote job after losing his old one, and Claire, a freelance illustrator, needed peace to work again. Lily, their 7-year-old daughter, was the real reason for the move. She'd been having nightmares for months, waking up screaming about the voices in the walls. The new house, an old Victorian just outside town, seemed perfect. Spacious, charming, cheap. Too cheap, maybe. But when they signed the lease, Claire felt something inside her exhale. That first week, everything seemed normal. Michael was calmer. Lily laughed again. The house smelled like old pine and rain. Until the mirrors started acting strange. It began subtly. A reflection slightly out of sync. A passing shadow that didn't match reality. And then, Lily disappearing from her own reflection entirely. Claire tried not to panic. She told herself mirrors could warp light, that maybe the glass was antique. But when she mentioned it to Michael, he brushed it off. "Mirrors don't just stop reflecting people," he said. "You've been stressed." Maybe he was right. Claire was stressed. She hadn't slept through the night in weeks. Every sound in the old house made her heart race. The creak of pipes, the sigh of wind through broken seals. But then, one afternoon, Lily said something that made her blood run cold. "Mommy," she whispered, "why do the mirrors in this house hate me?" Claire froze. "What do you mean, hate you?" "They don't want me in them," Lily said. "They told me I don't belong here." Claire's first instinct was to grab her and leave. But she didn't. She knelt, smiled through her fear, and said, "Mirrors can't talk, sweetie." Lily frowned. "Not when you're watching." Over the next few days, Claire became obsessed. She started testing every mirror. In the hallway, the guest room, even the small oval one above the fireplace. Each time Lily stood in front of them, her reflection flickered, faded, or vanished completely. But when Michael looked, everything was normal. He started avoiding the topic altogether, as if talking about it would make it real. And when Claire brought up calling someone, maybe a contractor or a priest, he snapped. "This is exactly why we left the city," he shouted. "You wanted peace, remember? Then stop chasing ghosts." But Claire couldn't stop. She began documenting everything. Photos, videos, notes in a leather journal. Yet every photo she took of Lily near a mirror came out the same. The room was there, but Lily wasn't. That's when she found something strange. While cleaning the attic one evening, Claire discovered a hidden door behind an old dresser. It led to a narrow storage room filled with dust, broken furniture, and a mirror, wrapped in sheets and nailed to the wall. The glass was cracked, but when she pulled the sheet down, she gasped. Her reflection wasn't alone. Behind her stood a small figure, a girl, maybe 6 or 7, pale and silent, with eyes that looked more sad than frightening. Claire turned around. The room was empty. She looked back into the mirror. The girl was still there. And this time, she whispered something. Claire couldn't hear it, but her lips formed the word, "Stay." That night, Claire woke to the sound of humming. A soft lullaby, floating through the air vents. She followed it to Lily's room, but the bed was empty. The window was open, the curtains swaying. For a split second, Claire's heart stopped, until she saw the faint glow of the hallway light reflecting off something in the corner. Lily stood in front of her full-length mirror, whispering. Claire called her name. No response. She moved closer. Sweetheart, what are you doing? Lily's eyes stayed fixed on the mirror. I'm trying to remember her name, she said. Claire knelt beside her. Whose name? The other me, Lily murmured. The one who's stuck. The air grew heavier. The light dimmed. And in the mirror, Claire saw something she couldn't unsee. Another Lily, standing on the other side of the glass, eyes wide, face pressed against it like she was trapped inside. Her hand reached out, and the glass rippled like water. Claire screamed and pulled her daughter away. The mirror cracked down the middle, a sound like a breaking bone. Then everything went still. By morning, Michael found Claire curled up on the floor, clutching Lily tightly. The mirror was shattered. When he asked what happened, she couldn't answer. She just stared at the shards, where dozens of reflections stared back, each slightly different, each watching. He called a doctor, a therapist, anyone who might explain what was happening. But something had changed. Lily wouldn't go near any reflective surface. And when Claire tried to show her a small hand mirror, she screamed until her voice broke. Then, one evening, as Claire tucked her into bed, Lily whispered, She said it's not over, Mommy. Claire froze. Who said that? The other me, Lily said softly. She said you moved into her house. Claire's hand trembled as she reached for the bedside lamp. The bulb flickered once. And in that split-second flash, she saw it. A shadow of Lily standing in the mirror, smiling. When the light steadied, it was gone. But the smile remained. When Claire Thompson moved her family into the old Victorian house, she thought they'd found peace. But she was wrong, because the mirrors in the house didn't reflect her daughter. And now, her daughter wasn't sleeping, wasn't laughing, wasn't the same. Every night, Lily whispered to someone in the dark, someone only the mirrors could see. 2 days after the incident, Michael insisted on replacing the broken mirror. He thought it would prove nothing was wrong. But when the new one arrived, Claire couldn't even watch him hang it. She waited in the hallway, holding Lily's small hand. When she finally peeked inside, her heart stopped. The reflection showed 3 people in the room. Michael, Claire, and a little girl standing between them, except Lily was still in the hallway. Claire gasped. Michael turned, confused. But by then, the reflection had already changed back. He called it a trick of light. But Claire couldn't ignore the truth anymore. Something, or someone, was in those mirrors. That night, she went back to the attic, to the hidden room she'd found. And this time, she brought a flashlight and her phone. The room was colder than before. The mirror on the wall was still cracked, but now, faint fingerprints lined the glass. Small, childlike prints, as if someone had been pressing from the inside. Claire began recording. She whispered into the camera. If anyone ever finds this, my name is Claire Thompson. My daughter doesn't show up in mirrors. And I think. She stopped. A soft sound came from the mirror, a faint tapping. Then a voice. She's not yours. Claire stumbled back, dropping the phone. The flashlight rolled, spilling light across the walls, and for just a second, she saw it. Drawings etched into the wood. Dozens of stick figures. Children, each scratched over with a single word. Replaced. The next morning, Claire drove into town. She didn't tell Michael. At the library, she searched the house's address. Nothing came up for recent years, but an old local newspaper archive caught her eye. Tragedy at Holloway Estate. Family found dead, daughter missing. The date, 1984. The same house. According to the article, the Holloways had one child, a girl named Eliza, 7 years old. The parents were found in the attic, unresponsive, mirrors covered with sheets. Eliza's body was never found. Claire stared at the black and white photo. The little girl in the picture had the same curls as Lily, the same shy smile, and in the reflection of the window behind her, faint but visible, was another Eliza, pale, expressionless, staring straight into the camera. That night, Claire woke to a noise downstairs, the faint sound of running water. She found Lily standing in front of the bathroom mirror again. The faucet was running, the mirror fogged with condensation, and on it, drawn in a child's hand, were words spelled backward. "Let her out." Claire's voice shook. "Lily, step away from the mirror." But Lily didn't move. Her reflection smiled, even though she wasn't. Claire grabbed her, pulled her back, and the lights exploded. The mirror shattered, showering them both in glass. And through the broken pieces, Claire saw a world beyond. Dark, watery, endless, where shadows moved like people drowning. Among them stood a little girl in a white dress. She pressed her hand against the inside of the broken glass, whispering, "You promised you'd stay." Then Lily screamed. And in that instant, Claire realized the voice wasn't coming from the mirror anymore. It was coming from inside her daughter. For days, Lily didn't speak. She sat by the window, humming that same lullaby Claire had heard before, the one from the attic. Michael grew distant, convinced Claire was making everything worse. He started sleeping on the couch, muttering about moving out. But one night, Claire caught him standing in front of the mirror in the hallway, talking softly, as if to someone she couldn't see. When she called his name, he turned, startled. And for just a split second, she saw his reflection stay behind, still whispering. The next morning, Michael was gone. His car, his phone, everything left behind. Only one thing remained, a note, scrawled in his handwriting but shaky, uneven. "She says we can both stay now. Come inside." Claire dropped the note. The mirror beside her rippled faintly, like something breathing beneath its surface. And then, from upstairs, Lily's voice echoed softly. "Mommy, she wants to show you Daddy." Claire looked toward the staircase. At the top stood Lily, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim hallway light. And behind her, in the mirror on the wall, Michael was smiling. By the time the sun rose, Claire knew she couldn't keep pretending. Her husband was gone. Her daughter was slipping away. And the mirrors in the house, all of them, were humming. Not loud, not even human. Just a low, constant vibration that felt like a pulse beneath the glass. When she leaned close to the bathroom mirror, she could hear it whisper her name. "Claire, it's time." The police came that morning. They asked questions, the kind that make you feel guilty for just existing. "Ma'am, you're saying your husband disappeared into a mirror?" Claire didn't answer. She couldn't, because even as they spoke, she could see him in the hallway mirror behind them. Faint, blurry, but there, watching. When the officers left, she sat by Lily's bed. Her daughter's small hand was cold, her eyes unfocused. "Sweetheart," Claire whispered, "you have to fight it. Don't let her in." Lily blinked slowly. "She's already here, Mommy. She says she remembers you." Claire frowned. "Remembers me? What are you talking about?" Lily's lips curved into a weak smile. "She said you promised to come back." Claire couldn't sleep. Not after that. She went back to the attic, determined to destroy the last mirror, the one hidden behind the nailed boards. But when she pried it loose, she saw something new. The cracks had healed. The glass was smooth again, gleaming softly. And inside it was her husband. Michael stood in what looked like their living room, smiling gently. "Claire," he said, his voice echoing faintly. "It's okay. You can stop fighting." She reached toward him, and the glass rippled under her hand, warm like skin. Then another voice spoke, small, distant, familiar. "Mommy!" Lily's reflection appeared beside Michael, clutching his hand. "Please come," she said softly. "We're waiting for you." Claire stumbled back, heart pounding. "No, you're not real. You're not." But the mirror's surface shimmered, and the image shifted. Now she was looking at herself, standing in the reflection, eyes full of tears. "You promised," the reflection whispered. "You said you'd never leave us again." Claire froze, and in that moment, she remembered. It came back like a flood. The accident, the icy road, the shattered glass. 5 years ago, she'd lost her first child, a daughter named Eliza. The car had spun off the highway on a winter night. Eliza hadn't survived. And ever since, mirrors made Claire uneasy. She'd avoided them without understanding why. The Holloway family, the story she'd read, it wasn't coincidence. The name on the death certificate of the little girl from 1984 was Eliza Holloway Thompson. Her Eliza. This house wasn't haunted by strangers. It was haunted by her grief. The reflection in the mirror wasn't some spirit. It was the echo of a promise. The promise Claire made when she cradled her daughter's lifeless hand. If there's a way back to you, I'll find it. And now, she had. Claire fell to her knees before the mirror. Tears streamed down her face as the reflection, her reflection, smiled softly. "Then come home," it whispered. But as she reached out, she saw Lily standing in the doorway, trembling. "Mommy, don't go," Lily said. "Please. I don't want to be alone." For a moment, everything was still. The hum of the mirrors quieted. The air felt heavy with choice. Claire looked between the mirror, where her lost family waited, and the doorway, where her living daughter stood. And then she whispered, "No more promises." She turned, grabbed Lily's hand, and pulled her back as the mirror began to crack, light bursting from every fracture. The glass shattered, spilling a flood of warm, golden light across the attic floor. And in that light, Claire saw the reflection of a little girl, her first daughter, smiling peacefully before fading into the glow. The hum stopped. The mirrors fell silent. Weeks later, the house was quiet again. Michael was never found, but Claire believed, in a way, he wasn't gone. Lily started smiling again, sleeping through the night. One morning, as sunlight poured through the window, Claire caught sight of herself in the hallway mirror. For the first time in months, she didn't flinch. And behind her, faint and warm like a memory, she saw Eliza, smiling, her small hand raised in goodbye. Claire smiled back. "Rest now," she whispered. The reflection nodded and vanished. Years later, when Lily grew older, she asked about the mirrors. Claire just said, "Sometimes reflections don't show what's real, they show what's missing." Lily never asked again. But sometimes, when the evening light hit the living room just right, a faint glimmer shimmered on the walls. Not frightening, not sad, just gentle. And in that soft glow, if you looked closely, you might still see a little girl playing, free at last, on the other side of the glass.